want Republicans dead.
Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay?
The women with the least likelihood of getting pregnant are the ones most worried about having abortions.
On January 6th of 2021, you had tens of thousands of people peacefully protesting.
So, it's not a right-wing conspiracy theory. It's not QAnon. It's real.
Impeachment. We're going to have an extended rant today on the enemies list. First off, as I think we all know, Donald Trump is a twice impeached president. Why was he impeached twice? Because he's a liar and a criminal. Because he engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors. Had it not been for Mitch McConnell short-circuiting the impeachments twice, an unforgivable sin in my view, Donald Trump would not be running for office again this year. Donald Trump would be out of our hair forever. But moving on to the purpose of this impeachment. The reason for this impeachment is very simple. The reason for this impeachment is they want something to counterweight against Donald Trump's rampant criminality. They want to say, see, Joe Biden's a criminal too. Because right now you have a guy facing 4 different court cases with 91 charges against him. And are all of them going to hit? No, they're not. Are some of them going to be dismissed or be a mistrial, or will the clock run out? Absolutely. But the fact of the matter is, Donald Trump has been impeached twice because he's a liar and a criminal. The courts are showing you every day that Donald Trump is a liar and a criminal, that he attempted to illegally overthrow the United States government. These are not questions. These are facts. Now, a lot of Democrats are going to get into the deep defensive crouch about Hunter Biden. Hunter has said it himself. He had a massive, life-wrecking drug problem. You know what, folks? We've all known people who've had that kind of problem. And if you haven't lived a really full life, unfortunately. I've known way too many good people who got into coke or got into heroin or got into God knows whatever, or gambling or sex. Addiction's a real thing. It exists in the world. It makes people's lives shitty. It destroys their lives. Hunter's life was wrecked. His father, who was then a private citizen, who was not in political office, helped him out, helped him rebuild his life. Hunter has said it very clearly. My dad was not involved with my business. Now, what they're doing in this impeachment is trying to connect, while Biden was not president, the actions of Hunter Biden as a lobbyist and a deal guy, and to say that private citizen Joe Biden was somehow collecting millions of dollars from the Chinese or wherever the fuck they think it came from. It's all horseshit, folks. And we live in this era where we're so accustomed to the horseshit around Trump turning out to be right that some Democrats are going to get in a defensive crouch and go, we're going to throw Hunter over the. You know what? He's owned being a guy who really fucked his life up, and it hurt his family, and it hurt his parent. It hurt everybody involved in his life. That's what addiction does. He's owned it. He's past it. So you're going to basically say, as the Republicans, Jim Comer and Jim Jordan, who are going to lead this clown car, and we'll get to those two fuckwits in a second. They're going to lead this clown show in the next year, and it's going to endlessly be Hunter Biden's laptop with pictures of him having sex with escorts, with pictures of whatever. Okay, the obsession by Jim Comer and Jim Jordan with male dick pics on Hunter's laptop, I think speaks much more about them than it does about him. None of that show trial shit is really about the president. None of that show trial shit is really about Joe Biden's actions, even while a private citizen. These are about making Donald Trump look like less of a raging filth pile scumbag, because Donald Trump is the worst human being to have ever held the office of president. And I put Andrew Jackson on that list, okay? He is the singularly worst, most corrupt, most venal, most unbelievably law-breaking president to have ever sullied the Oval Office. Joe Biden's conduct in office is the only area in which an actual impeachment could be held. And you notice they don't have a goddamn thing, not a goddamn shred of anything for his actual conduct in office. Why? Because Joe Biden's been a good president, because he's been around long enough to follow the law. He's been around long enough to listen to the general counsel when they say, hey, don't do X, it might not be good, or don't do Y, it might be illegal, or don't do Z, that's a crime. Whereas Donald Trump would hear, don't do this, and say, I'm going to do it. Whereas Donald Trump would say, that's a bad idea. And he'd say, no, I read it somewhere on Breitbart that it was a good idea. Or that's a crime. And he would say, fuck you. I do what I want. You have an unbelievable example one more time of the fundamental projection that is at the heart of every single Republican politician in this country. That projection cannot be denied, and it cannot be in any way excused. Every time you hear them say that Joe Biden's corrupt, you should recognize what they're saying is, we know Donald Trump is the most corrupt person to have ever held the office. Every time they say Donald Trump or Joe Biden's family, was part of a scheme to enrich him, you should remember that Donald Trump's net worth while he was in office went up because of the corrupt activities of his businesses, using those businesses to attract foreign money that he otherwise could not have in any way accessed to enrich him with the hotels and the golf clubs and the condos. You should understand every time they say that Joe Biden's son is corrupt and bad, blah, 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 they're talking about Don Jr. and Eric and Ivanka and Jared. This is a projection exercise writ in the largest, boldest possible strokes. The entire impeachment exercise, every bit of it, from top to bottom, stem to stern, is horseshit. They know it. You know it. Now, I want to say to our friends in the media, as this goes forward, I know the temptation will be to write about the tennis match. Bang, boom, back, forth. That's not the right way to frame this, in my opinion. I'm not your editor, but I will say this. If you want to tell the American people the real story of what's going on here, you have to dig into the communications that are going on between Donald Trump's campaign, Susie Wiles, Chris LaCivita, Trump himself, Jason Miller, and the members of Congress, Jim Comer, Jim Jordan, Mike Johnson, Matt Gaetz. The entire architecture of this phony impeachment is revealed by the fact that they have demanded it from Mar-a-Lago over and over again. And if you're a witness who is drawn into this, you should directly confront the people on the committee. You should say, Mr. Comer, have you ever spoken to Susie Wiles? Mr. Comer, have you ever spoken to Chris LaCivita? Mr. Comer, have you spoken to Donald Trump about this? If you're a witness in this, you're being called, you should be as hostile as possible. You should put up the middle finger and tell them to fuck right off. You should make the show trial painful for them. Why do they want Hunter Biden to testify in secret? Because they know their bullshit can be called. This is a fragile, vulnerable operation. These people can be broken. Now, one final note on this, and we'll be talking a lot more about impeachment as we go forward this year. One final note on this, and I want to be extremely clear about the hypocrisy level here. They want the testimony in secret, not to protect the viability of the chain of evidence or to protect whistleblowers, because every whistleblower so far has been completely full of shit. Okay. Every single one of their whistleblowers has been completely full of shit. They are all lying liars who have lied to Congress. Exposing this, highlighting it, showing the connections is one of the most important things you can do. And it is one of the most important defenses here because, look, the president's going to have to defend the prerogatives of the Oval Office, just as Trump legitimately in some cases did, but mostly illegitimately. And it's going to look like they're fighting some sort of deep, dark secret. It's bullshit. There's no secret. There's no there. He was not president when the alleged acts occurred. And when you ask them what the alleged acts were, they're like, well, we don't know what the alleged acts were. They had to have happened. Somebody said something on Fox, so it's real. Anyway, folks, this is going to be a long, ugly, brutal, stupid process. We're going to be with it every step of the way, and we're going to be holding their ass to the fire every step of the way. I want to put one more piece of this rant into the mix. I want to say this to the problem solver Republicans, the do-gooders, who are the good guys in Congress, the no-labels problem solvers. Fuck all of you, you low-life pieces of shit. Oh, you're all about making Congress work. You're all about getting things done. You're all about making sure that Congress does the people's business. Every fucking one of you just voted for this bullshit impeachment inquiry. Every fucking one of you is a lying little hypocrite, and I can't wait for the political blowback in places like California, where 3 of the so-called problem solvers went out and said, oh, well, I don't know, there's no evidence, but I have to vote with my caucus because Trump wants us to, and otherwise I'll get primaried. I'm sorry, you guys are done. You're done. There are no problem solver Republicans. There are no good guy Republicans. There are no moderate Republicans. Every single one of you now in the caucus has swallowed the poison. Every single one of you has swallowed the toxic waste of Trumpism, and you're backing up a move will wrap Congress around the axle for the next year. Nothing will be accomplished for the people or your districts or anything else. You've done it because you're afraid of Donald Trump. And every pretense you ever had of being somebody who wanted to do things differently, somebody who wanted to get past Trump and Trumpism, somebody who wanted to be able to represent a purple or a blue district as a Republican, guess what? You've all made the lie evident. You've all made the lie abundantly clear. It's done. It's over. You should resign in disgrace and shame. All of you fuckers on the Republican Party are on the enemies list, and so saith the Lord, and that's it for today. Thanks.